this evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, the youth. I'd like to welcome you to the youth portion of the constitutional revision. I'd like to say hello to the KOLC viewers who are going to be watching this. This evening we are here to kind of hear what you guys want to see changed within our Constitution. And tonight, you have a good turnout. You have a wide range of council representatives here. You have Miss Stephenie Leizure from Oglala District, who's a council representative. You have Dr. Valentina Merdanian, who's a council representative from Oglala. And you have Jackie Siers as council representative from Wakpomni. And then you have your very own council representative from your own district, Blaine. Little Thunder. I always knew him as Blaine. I rode a horse with him when he was riding horses back in the day. And then you have your treasurer of your district, of your executive board here, Mr. Beef Randall. And you have your chairman of your district here, Jerome Highhorse. And myself, who is a district chairman for my own district. And I am almost 30. So I still fall in the youth portion of it. One more month and then I'll move on. But tonight we're here to engage with you, to get an understanding of what you guys want to see changed, and hear what you want to, hear your ideas. Because with you, this is the document that's going to govern you as you're growing. This document that we've had here for that you're looking at. This document's been in effect since 90 years. 90 years. Goes to show that it's time for a change. It's time we move forward. It's time we move with the times. In my own district, we have our constitution that I'm working on as a district person, as a district executive board, and we've had that our constitution it was signed in 1988, which is going to be 30 years, so just about as old as me, and I've been working on getting that changed. So tonight I hope we can go back and forth and hear your ideas and hear what you want to see changed. And I think we're getting all set up here for what's going on with the PowerPoint up on the board here. And if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand and we'll go ahead and answer those questions as best as we can. So with that, I'll turn it over to Nikita.
Good evening, guys. My name is Lakeena Mills. I'm from the Pine Ridge District. I'm here today to share some information with you guys. So I'm going to share some information first with you guys, just about kind of how we came to be. Just kind of give you like a little history on our Constitution, and it'll kind of be kind of quick because we don't have a whole lot of time to get in. But just know, if you guys don't understand anything, just stop, ask a question. All right. First off, is there something? Do you guys? I'm gonna give the mic to you. If you guys will just do a little brief intro about your name, maybe what grade you're in. Okay. Hopefully I can. You might have to come. I might not make it to you, so you might have to slide over.
Hi, I'm Aldum Zephier, and I'm in 9th grade.
I'm Myron Chips, and I'm in 8th grade.
I'm Carlene Williams, and I'm in 9th grade.
My name is Ethan Ladue. I'm in 12th grade.
Tama, do you want to do Tama? I have a facilitator, so I'll have him do a little intro. Oh, sorry, facilitator aid.
I don't need the mic. I've been in education for years, so I'm pretty sure you guys can all hear me. My name is Tani, Tawa. I am an enrolled member here of the tribe. I reside in the Pine Ridge area. I'm a native rebuilder, so I'm here to just kind of help out Lakeena in any way she sees fit. I intend to log all your information, any concerns you have, Anything you'd like to see, I'll write it down. I'll put it on poster boards and we'll line it right along the bottom here so you can all see any of the things that we'd like to see change, anything you'd like.
Is there something that you guys with the Constitution, I heard you guys had a chance to maybe look it over a little bit before. Is there something that you guys can say that you like from the Constitution right off bat? Nothing? What do you dislike? Who wants to be brave and start us off? I'm gonna let the 12th grader go.
I mean, in my junior year, I took tribal government for what was it, semester? For one semester, and we didn't get so far because it was only a semester. But I mean, if we had more time with it, I would have read more. But there's only I skimmed over it because that's basically what we could do, just skim over it.
What about you said you had family members on tribal council.
Yeah.
Is there something that you've seen with tribal council and governments that you dislike? You may have heard family members say something, or something that you picked up on that.
I know. I remember you. Last year my thought was, I always found that the Department of Interior had more say-so over what was done here, and I was always thinking, how come we don't have a youth input on more stuff that is being put out there. Yeah.
Anyone else got anything? No? That's fine. As we get into the articles, something may trigger. Okay? So don't be afraid to share that when it happens there. Right now, so we're gonna go into a timeline, a little bit of the treaties, and then we'll get into the articles. Okay? So first off, it started off with the colonial period in 1492. You guys all probably heard about that date. 1492, Columbus, and then 1828. This here was a lot of the immigration, 100 to over 1 million. This was when, the very, very beginning when they came over and the United States and our land. So there was treaties between sovereign nations. Most settlements mostly on the East Coast, on the West, Appalachians. This was out on the East Coast, how we're out here on the West and then the East. So that's where it started coming from that side and then coming over. So just to kind of give you that picture from when it started during that timeline. Then we get into the removal and relocation period. Have you guys had history, maybe Native American history and stuff in your high school and went over? So some of this is probably pretty familiar. Okay. So this 1828 to 1871, this was, so of course by 1850, nearly all the eastern tribes were moved to the center of the country. You'll see here, so this here, the 1851, the Fort Laramie Treaty. Does that ring a bell with any of you guys? Sound familiar, 1851? So do you see how the boundaries, how, we're here, if you look at us today, we're a little section right here. But this is when the 1851 treaty started. This is what it first looked like. Does this ring a bell? Okay. So that kind of just shows you what we started out as. Then we get into the next treaty, the 1868 treaty, and then so do you see where it was to where it ended up? Do you see that? It kept getting smaller, yep, and it gets smaller. So there was this treaty to this treaty, and then this 1876 to 1877 time frame. Do you see that? And then the other boundaries here. This was here when the little bighorn. I'm sure you guys all that sounds. So this was when the government seized the Black Hills. So you see here, the Black Hills. That was part taken in this time frame. Then that brought the Allotment Act. The allotment was like whenever for the lands. So so the reserved tribal lands were allotted to individual Indian ownership. This began in 1887. So just to show you like all that land, so then they started dividing it up. Then in 1889, so again you can see we went from that to another that, and then they took away that Black Hills area, and then look at the different sections that they divided us up into. So this here is our reservation here. Rosebud there, others there, Standing Rock, Eagle Butte kind of area there. So you see the loss of land that happened over the years, and that was 1889. And then again, like 1980, the Supreme Court ordered the U.S. government to pay for the appropriation of the Black Hills with interest. And again, I'm pretty sure you guys know that's where they're trying to get us to sell the Black Hills, but we haven't approved of it. So, does this ring a bell? I hope it does. Okay. So this was this time frame, 1899 to 2012, and then you see the reservation boundaries where it was divided up into Standing Rock, Cheyenne River, Lower Brew, Crow Creek. And then there was the reorganization period, 1928 to 1945. This ended those allotments that I had talked about earlier, and then brought about the 1934 Reorganization Act. So this was established to the modern tribal government. And basically, also during this time frame, the termination and relocation period, 1945 to 1965. But back to this, so that constitution that you guys have here in front of you, so that constitution kind of came around during that time. I believe, so abuse, I'm sorry if I'm trying to rush, but we just don't have a whole lot of time, so I apologize. So again, that just shows you the timeline, and so after that, this is the Pine Ridge Reservation. Do you guys see all the land? The little bit is scattered. This here is Martin, Pine Ridge, so you see, and then you guys, Wanblee's way out here. So just keep that in mind as the visual. Anything you want to add? No? Okay. So again, that Constitution is in front of you, huh? Okay. So now that the Constitution is in front of you, and that's what brought the IRA. So we had to have some sort of constitution in order to have our government. So at that time, we took the government, the IRA. That's our constitution. There's a game going on, isn't there? Okay. So basically, our Constitution was approved in January 15th, 1936. Okay, 1936. How many of you guys have relatives that were born during that time that are still alive today, maybe? Yay, nay, hia, he, huh? Maybe. So just keep that in mind, that was back in that far back. So there was 4 amendments during that time. 1969, 1985, 1997, and then 2008. That was almost like 11 years ago. So just to kind of show you, these were back in 2008. There's all the different articles right here. In those articles, all 15, 16, 17 articles, only 9 articles in 2008 were revised. And we cannot track like the other revisions from those other 3 amendments. We don't know the changes that happened then. So there's a lot of old language in those constitutions from like 1936. So that's why we're coming to you guys as youth to get some input on the Constitution so that it can fit you, because this Constitution is gonna, it's for your future, right? Like you guys are eventually going to be coming. I don't know if any of you guys want to be government, interested in government, or even just making your community better, right? Right? So you guys should want to have voice. And you said it earlier, youth input. So that's very important. So basically, so this is Article 1. Well, even then, just right now, look at your preamble on your first constitution. Like it's short. It's only like a couple sentences. Do you guys see something in there right off bat that you don't like? And then let me know. Hey, get out of the way. Can somebody tell me right off bat what they see and they... I'm pretty sure, not to put any words in your mouth, but I'm pretty sure God Almighty and His divine providence probably is not right. And then what is it you don't like about it? I'm pretty sure you'd like to see some of your own language in there, right? Like your own Lakota, something from your own culture. I'm pretty sure. Creator, right? Creator. Something Tukashala or something like that in there, right? All right. Anything else about that? Anything else about that preamble that you didn't like, or even if you liked it, let me know. Anything else? Anybody else?
He brought up a good point. Is it says certain rights. How come we don't have all the rights or all our rights?
So certain rights, like even defining what that means, right? So certain rights. Okay, you're gonna move over there. Okay. Yeah, preamble. Yep. Certain rights. Certain rights. No, they asked the question about why is it certain rights? What? Okay. All right. So with that, anybody else have anything to add for preamble? You guys can fill that out later. Like we'll collect it. But let's so then now let's move on to Article 1, territory. So the jurisdiction of the Oglala Sioux tribe of Indians shall extend to the territory within the original confines of the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation boundaries, as defined hereafter, added thereto under any law of the U.S. except as may be otherwise provided by law for unrestricted lands, to regulate the inheritance of property, real and personal, and other than allotted lands within the territory of the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. What is it there that might spark something? Nada? Do you guys understand those boundaries? Do you understand what those boundaries are? So you guys understand what was up there? Yeah? But you don't think it should be any more defined or anything? You're good with that one? Okay, so next one we have is membership, if you want to go to Article 2. So membership has two sections. In the first one it says membership of the Oglala Sioux tribe shall be automatic win. So it just breaks it down by and it's up there and it's in front of you there. So a person's name appears on an official roll, or a child is born to any member. And then Section 2, the tribal council shall have the authority to adopt laws covering future membership. Are you guys okay with that?
I'd rather be a sole authority instead of just like being controlled by others.
You would rather decide that?
Yeah.
Who's membership?
Yeah.
Who can be a member? Okay. All right, anybody else with membership? Some of the so I've done this meeting with adults, and some of them had shared just like a blood quantum. Do you guys care about blood quantum? Like if somebody can only be a fourth, if they can be an enrolled member here, are you guys okay with that or not okay with that? You don't think there should be a blood quantum, or do you think there should be?
Should, but then, yeah, there should be a blood quantity, but then like say.
And I'm just throwing it out there just because I've been to other meetings. So don't make, I'm not trying to say that you have to agree or you have to. I'm just throwing it out there.
Like adoption, basically, and
So that should be considered
It's up to you.
as membership. Yes, your own, what you think. Like if somebody was adopted into the tribe or into the Oglala Sioux tribe.
yeah, because people should be treated equally and like not considered as this because of their colors and this and that. Because I mean,
Or like how much Oglala Sioux tribal membership they have? Okay. All right. Anything else about membership? So then we get into Article 3, which is the governing body. And I apologize if I'm looking over your shoulder, okay? Because I just don't want to hold it at the same time. So the governing body, that basically describes our tribal council, right? And I think it was you that said you had tribal council family members on council. You too? Okay. So is there something in there that either you like or dislike about that article? It's here that it talks about the 9 districts, and then you guys being a part of the Eagle Nest district. So it describes those districts, but it also talks about like look at section 3. The tribal council shall have authority to make changes, things like that. And it is like a page and a half. So page 2, page 3, all those different sections. Even this one, members of the tribal council shall be elected for terms of 2 years. Do you guys think that's enough? Do you think that's enough time frame, 2 years? Do you think it should be more? Is there any input that you guys have with that area? It also talks about elections to the tribal council after the first election shall be called by tribal council at least 60 days, Article 3. I'm just reading a couple of the sections. So like this one says, shall be called by tribal council at least 60 days. So whenever they run for tribal council, they have to put in a petition like 60 days prior to. Do you guys think that's that's a far enough time frame, or do you think it should be more or less? What do you guys think?
I think that's enough.
You think that's enough?
Yeah, it'd be enough.
What do you think about the 2-year time frame? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's good? Too long? Too short?
I have a question for you. In regards to Section 3, the tribal council shall have. So in regards to Section 3, the tribal council shall have authority to make changes in the foregoing list according to future community needs, subject to the approval of Secretary of Interior. How do you feel, and this is a question for the youth, how do you feel in regards to outside governing systems coming in and telling you what's important for your community? Or how do you feel about the representatives of Pine Ridge who may not necessarily know what's going out here making those kind of decisions for you?
Well, they should let the people that actually know what's going on in our community make them choices.
Right, so giving more authority to the community to make those kind of choices.
So you want more authority and your people from your own community making those choices. Members of, okay. So anything else about, so if you said that about that section, look at section 10. The Oglala Sioux Tribal Council shall be the sole judge of the constitutional qualifications of its own members. Do you think that's that your tribal council should have that sole judge? Do you agree with that one? Tribal council would be the people you guys elect. So like your Eagle Nest District, Pine Ridge District, Wakpomni District, Porcupine District. Are you guys okay with that one? Yeah? Okay. I was reading section 10. So okay, so if you guys and just remember, like, as we're going through, like, if there's something that sparks and you think about it, and maybe we go to the next article and maybe something hits with the last one, don't be afraid to stop me, okay? Remember, your guys' voice is really important, because we want to get your input into how this may look, okay? So the next Article 4, powers of the council. This one goes on page 3, 4, 5, and 6. This one describes how the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council shall exercise their powers in negotiating with the government. So, and it talks a lot about, like, to approve or veto sale of land, to advise the Secretary of Interior. There's that Secretary of Interior again. You know, that's in our Constitution. So it also talks about to make assignments of tribal land, to manage economic affairs and enterprises, to appropriate for the public purpose, levy taxes, fees, remove trespassers, banish people. I'm pretty sure you guys have heard about that, right? The banishment. And there's like ordinances in place for people that are that, like, I know you guys might have heard about meth and how that's picked up and how they've banished meth people. Are you guys okay with that? That being a part of the... Okay, so Article 4. Are you guys there looking at anything spark anything to you guys in there? This here, like, look, if you look at J, to enact resolution or ordinances not inconsistent with Article 2 of this Constitution. So that says that the council can do that, resolution and ordinances. Does those you guys that were in government class, so that says, like, tribal council can do resolution and ordinances of laws and things. Are you guys okay with that? Yeah.
Authority to change your constitution. And you know what I'm saying? So it's saying your elected officials have the authority to make any changes they see fit to this without your notification first.
You guys are okay with that? No?
Yeah, you don't have to.
Yeah, you don't have to. I mean, do you want to say a little bit about that?
I would like us to make our own choices and for our council members to talk to us about our constitution and what's going on within our territories. And I would just really appreciate that they, like, whenever they make decisions, that they run it through everyone and ask what they think about it first.
So getting community input is important. Like, so before they pass any resolution or ordinances, letting you guys know what they're trying to do, right? Okay. Anything else with that that article? Did you want?
Okay.
Okay.
No?
I'm just concerned about the power of funds.
Money.
Where they say like, if they need help financially or anything, like, for like appointments and stuff like that, and they say to go to the tribe. In the end, they don't really see no money that's supposed to be for the communities. Like, where's that basically all going?
Okay, so you would like to see more communication with how the funds, where they're going and how they're being spent. So, like, financial,
Especially here
in Wanblee. Okay. Okay. Yep. Okay. So yeah. So sharing of information, especially about funds, like medical funds. Like if you guys need money to go to a medical appointment, just communicating those needs. Okay. All right. Any other ones that? What? What was it? Just communicating about the funds, like having better communication with how to access those and in the districts, especially this community out here in Wanblee. Okay, so Article 5, Judicial Powers. So judicial powers is basically the powers of like our Supreme Court, so our judicial system, like tribal court. You guys have to go to Kyle. I mean, have you guys heard about that? I mean, you guys are young, not 18 yet, correct? You're still young. Do you guys have to go to Kyle for tribal court? Have you heard family members talking about having to go to Kyle or Pine Ridge for tribal court? Pine Ridge? Okay. And that's pretty far. That's like, what, 2 hours away? Almost? All right. So this one here talks about the powers of the Supreme Court, powers of the Inferior Tribal Court. Do you guys even know what that means? No? So any questions that you see, like the powers of the Supreme Court, like shall exercise, so the appellate jurisdiction over the case. So basically, so even having the language to understand it, correct, would be something you would think? Huh? Okay. So basically, this talks about the courts and compensation removal of vacancies in the Supreme Court. So like the judges. Does that spark anything with you guys? Have you guys heard the term chief judge? Okay. So there's a section 4 that talks about, it says here, the chief judge of inferior tribal court shall oversee the administration of justice in tribal courts. So chief judge. Ooh, that sparks something. Anything there for you guys? Does that, anything if you're reading?
Just for clarification, does this have to do with like jurisdiction of federal court versus Native American court, like FBI and that kind of thing?
Nope, this is just our own tribal court here on our reservation. Yeah. That's a whole different ball game.
Okay.
So basically it just talks about like those powers, who has those powers. There's even a part here, see if this sparks anything when I read it. The chief judge of inferior courts shall be elected at large by eligible voters of the Oglala Sioux tribe under ordinances by the tribal council and shall serve a 4-year term. Does that spark anything? Do you guys know what at large means? It means by the people. Are you guys okay with that too? Yeah. Okay. Anything you want to add there? Any one of those sections? It also talks about like compensation and removal. Then section 6, the removal. The tribal council may remove any justice of the Supreme Court or judge of inferior tribal court by 2/3 vote. And then it just talks about if they have unethical behavior or things like that. Are you guys okay with that? Like the tribal council being able to remove justices.
That's like impeachment.
Yeah. Are you guys okay with that? Okay, so then it talks about vacancies and how they fill those. This next article, Article 6, is the district organizations. This here describes the roles and the purposes of the districts. You guys know how many districts there are, right? I named a couple of them. Okay, so that paragraph there pretty much like just talks about the roles and what your districts got to do for like in your own district. So in Eagle Nest, you guys have a CAP office, right? So, and you guys, I mean, you guys being the youth, is there something that you see that they can be doing more of in your community, something like that? Anything you want to share, more, less, like, dislike of how that's run? This is your opportunity. Like, any ideas that pop in your head, anything you'd want to share, something different, maybe you want to see them doing something more. Sharing and helping community members. Okay. What else? You guys are youth. What do you guys need more of? I already heard youth input. Like, your guys' voice needs to be important. I heard that like twice now. Do you guys have like a youth council out here? Like a youth council, student council? Yeah. No? Is that something that you think would be important to you?
Yeah. It would be a major impact.
Do you see that it could probably fit something here? Maybe district organization, maybe each district takes that on or something? How do you see that? What else what else would you like to see in your community? They just made a comment about like a boys and girls club, like a youth center, something for them to some more activities they can do out here, being way out here.
The school is actually to get an actual library.
A library. That is good. That's a good one. So library, resources for that. Oh, community center. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it would be great for kids to take them off the streets.
Here, can you say that?
Oh.
You say without the mic.
Well, all of our, we all want a center for children during like the summer or like any time of the year to keep their minds busy off of like drugs or alcohol or any of that stuff, and just keep them away from it due to like everyone just. I seen that on the news. Meth is really bad in the community, and I know a few kids that are on that it's just bad. It's getting to the children, and we need a place like that.
Okay, so that district organizations, there's a sentence in here that because you guys did say about the Secretary of Interior and how much they're in this constitution. There's one here that says the various districts may consult with representatives of the Interior Department on all matters of local interest and make recommendations thereon to the tribal council or superintendent or commissioner of Indian Affairs. So I feel like with what you guys are saying, that getting community input is important, right? That's kind of what I've been hearing. I'm trying to say what you guys are saying quiet right here. That's why to share with everybody else so they can hear what you're saying.
So am I correct in hearing that allowing a voice for the youth, right? Because that's what you're talking about is being able to voice those concerns for our 2 tribal council members or district members and such. Does that mean allowing a representative who is a youth that has access to those people, or how are you defining that? Are you saying we're going to have a youth council that we'd like to see in this that can direct those kind of concerns or issues directly to the board? Is that kind of what you're saying? Yeah. Okay, and I just wanted clarification on that. So.
Yeah. All right. Anything else with that one? It's like a paragraph long. Anything else that sparks anything there? Okay, so then moving on to Article 7, which is elections. This one, section 1 and 2, describes who is eligible to vote in elections and how the tribal council shall determine a time and place and manner of the elections. Section 1. You're almost 18, huh? How do you, are you going to be registering to vote? Because you see section 1, it says all members of tribe 18 years or over. So is that important to you? Is that something that's going to be important to you when you turn 18?
Probably.
What? Voting isn't like, you want to be included in voting, right? Yeah. Are you 18 now? Or are you 17? 17? And then this one just says like the time and place, manner, nominations and elections of the councilmen, elected officers. So it just says that tribal council can make that determination. Does that spark anything with you guys? Or is that okay? Are you guys okay with that? So councilmen spark something with them, and being like equal councilmen and women is what they're talking about now. So that language. Anything else? All right, so then Article 8, removal of officers. This here describes, it's section 1 and 2, describes the process of removing tribal council. Did any of you three that are sitting here know that process anyway, anyhow now, or no? There's only one sentence in section 1, so any member or officer of the tribal council who is convicted of a felon or any other offense involving dishonesty shall forfeit their office. And then section 2, any officer of the council or any councilman shall be subject to recall from the office under due process of law or for cause. So they have to have a complaint against an officer or council. It must be in writing. And no person is to be impeached except by 2/3 vote. Are you guys okay with that? Yeah? Okay. And then so if you guys are okay with that one, we'll go on to Article 9, which is referendum. And then this one, so I'll read this one. This is so upon a petition by at least 1/3 of the eligible voters of the Oglala Sioux tribe, or upon the request of the majority of the members of tribal council, any enacted or proposed ordinance or resolution of the council shall be submitted to a popular referendum. Do you guys know what that means? If they're gonna pass like an ordinance or resolution, then you guys probably heard about the referendum for the legalization of alcohol, right? Did you guys hear about that a couple years ago, where they threw that out and people got to vote on it? And then I think it came out. I think they came out that they supported it, or making it, but then it stopped there. But that's kind of an example of them throwing it out to the people for a vote. You guys agree with that? Having a vote go to the people? Yeah? Okay. Do you guys think it should be happening more often, or were you okay with one happening a couple years ago? You guys talked about having, hearing, communicating, and things like that. Do you guys think they should be doing this more or less? More? Okay. Why do you say more? And you guys said it pretty fast too, so why do you think more? Probably so that you know what's going on, right? So what tribal council is doing, right? And so that you guys can be a part of that too, right? All right, anything else about referendum? All right, so this, So this next article is about the land. Do you guys know too much? You guys know too much about the land? It's the biggest part of the Constitution is this land piece. It's like about almost 4 pages long. It talks about allotted lands. Do any of you guys know that if your parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, or even if you have land? Do you guys know? Do you guys know of anything, or do you guys get any discussions with your relatives about the land, or have heard anything? No? Is there anything, just reading like Section 1, allotted lands, Section 2, tribal lands? What about the leasing of tribal lands? This is when you let's say you have land and you're letting somebody live on your land, so they're paying you lease money to live on that land. Does that spark anything there? And then Section 4, grant of standard assignments. So it just talks about so there's the exchange of assignments, the leasing of assignments, inheritance of assignments. Have any of you guys have this? Land is definitely a big one in this constitutional reform that a lot of people have questions and things about. Does it spark anything with you guys? Do any of you guys know if you'll be inheriting any land? No idea? Well, if it sparks anything, we'll come back to it, okay? Maybe it is kind of the bigger section, so you can take a look at it, and then I'm gonna give you guys some paper and pen. So if you guys have maybe you don't want to if you have a question or something, write it on a paper and give it to me, okay? And then then I'll read it, okay? So if something sparks, then just write it down and give it to me and I'll read it. Okay, this one might spark something. Let's just see if it sparks something off you guys. In the leasing of tribal lands, that one, preference shall be given first to the Indian communities or cooperative associations, and secondly to the individual Indians who are members of the Oglala Sioux tribe. No lease of tribal land to a non-member shall be made by tribal council unless it shall appear that no Indian community or cooperative association or individual member of the tribe is able and willing to use the land and to pay a reasonable fee for such use. Does that spark anything with you guys? Are you okay with it first being Indian communities and then members of the Oglala Sioux tribe? Good? Okay. All right. So I guess with that, then maybe we'll go to Article 9. Oh, wait. I don't know how to count. 11? Roman 11. So that one's amendments. So that is like the Constitution, bylaws. See if you guys see that typo right there. Bay. Do you guys see that bay? May be amended by a majority of the qualified voters of the tribe voting in an election called by purpose of the Secretary of Interior. How does that sit? Provided that at least 30% of those entitled to vote shall vote in such election. So in this section, in this little paragraph alone, you see Secretary of Interior like 3 times. Nope. And they said they did not like the Secretary of Interior being the boss of them. So. And then it talks about just the request of 2/3 of the council, or upon presentation of a petition signed by 1/3 of the qualified voters of the tribe. Do you guys know how many enrolled tribal members we have? You guys know, any of you guys heard that amount? How many do you guys think? It's about 48, I think. About 48. So that's how many. So if you think about that and how many are like qualified voters, just to give you guys an estimate in your mind, like that percentage. All right, so you didn't like the Secretary of Interior being the boss of you. Me neither. I don't like people being the boss of me either. All right, so the next article, 12, Bill of Rights. This section here, so it describes what tribal council is unable to enforce or make into law any of the bills of rights. So this here is the list of the bills of rights. So Bill of Right A prohibits the full exercise of Lakota culture and spirituality or any other religion, freedom of speech, press, right to the people. Does that spark anything, or is that okay? Yeah. How about B? They violate the rights of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable search and seizures, nor issue warrants, but upon probable cause supported by oath and affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Is that okay? That means like you guys have a right to, like, in your homes or whatever, but keep in mind this probable cause. So if like the cops have like probable cause for something, then they can search you, they search your homes, things like that. Does that sit okay? Do you guys understand probable cause?
They don't get government until their senior year.
Oh, so they kind of don't. That's kind of something new. Okay. Just throwing a lot at you. All right, and then so anything else like in Bill of Rights that you maybe there's something in there, not in there, that you want to see in there. This Bill of Rights is very similar to like the U.S. Constitution's Bill of Rights, so they're pretty much this very similar. Yeah. All right, no questions there? Oh yeah, that's not on there. The right to bear arms, yeah. No?
I'd say yeah.
They're talking about the right to bear arms.
But then again, no, because then they'll misuse the arm, like.
They'll misuse the purpose.
Yeah, they'll misuse the purpose to have guns in their care or anything like that. They'd misuse.
So you're saying like if that was something, then there should be like strict like ordinance or resolutions for that effect, if that's something to consider. Okay. What about you? Anything you want to add?
Well, it could be a necessary thing about the guns, because say like people are on land that aren't supposed to be, you could just ask them nicely, or like it is kind of unnecessary to have guns and try to protect your land. All you have to do is basically ask, but it basically just falls under protection of like household or yeah.
All right. Anything else for Bill of Rights? Yep, you guys are doing good. So then the next one, the responsibilities of the executive committee. Anybody tell me what they think executive committee is right off bat without not looking at it? Executive committee. In your school, do you guys have a student council, right? Or no? No? Okay. So basically it's like the president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and fifth member for our tribe. So like you guys know who the president for the tribe is right now, right? No.
The vice president came here.
Okay, so do you know the vice president? Ask that. Vice president's name. Darla? Okay. President's name? What? What is it? Troy? It's actually Scott. Troy Scott. Oh, I guess he does go by. You're right. I didn't know the nickname. The name. Yeah. So yeah. So president. So basically, it just says the responsibilities of the president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and then the fifth member. And then it says what the executive committee, what they do on behalf of tribal council. Any questions or input or anything you like or dislike about that section? So it just says like the president presides all over all meetings. Does that sit well with you guys? So he like runs the meetings. And if he don't do it, then if he's not there, then the vice president does it. So that's basically what those two in those section 1 and 2. And then section 3, the secretary shall keep record of each regular and special meeting. And then of course the treasurer shall be the custodian of all funds. This might get you. So the treasurer shall be the custodian of all funds which come under the jurisdiction or control of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council. The treasurer shall pay out funds in accordance with the law established by tribal council, shall keep accounts of all receipts and disbursements, and shall make written reports to the tribal council at each regular and special meeting. The treasurer shall be bonded in such an amount as the tribal council by law shall provide. So that's what the treasurer does. And does that spark anything? And I was saying you might say something just because you had that question earlier about like the communication and how funds are being spent. Like and not being out there in the community and talking about it. Or being aware about it.
Ain't that kind of a lot of money just for one person?
It's kind of a lot of money for one person to manage. So you think maybe there should be some others involved maybe? That might be something to consider. Okay. Yep. Okay, so then anything more? But yeah, she just mentioned how the treasurer, how she felt like that might be too much for them, for one person to manage or to be responsible for, right? Something like that. Okay. Anything more with the executive committee? So then that moves on to Article 14. Qualification, and then you guys notice my typo up there on the PowerPoint? You guys didn't catch that? Qualifications of tribal. I thought I caught that, but I must not have. Tribal council representatives and wait a minute. Yeah, so that's basically, so they have that one sentence there, and then it's the oath of office. Oh wait, no, it's only one sentence. So any person elected as tribal council rep or executive committee officer must be a member of the tribe, be at least 30 years of age. Does that sit well with you guys? So if you want to run for council, you got to be at least 30 years old. Is that okay? Does that sit well with you guys? That age limit? 30 is fine? Okay. They're probably not mature enough, not ready? Yeah. So you don't think they're ready, so 30 is a good age limit? Okay. I was going to say, I don't know, because I have some 18-year-olds that already think they know it all, so I don't know. I work with the kids at Red Cloud, and yeah, they think they know it all at 18. All right, so that's okay. So then what about, and they must reside within the exterior boundaries of the Pine Ridge Reservation. So those boundaries, is that okay with you guys? Like they have to be living on the reservation to run for council. Is that okay? Or do you think they should, like we have members that live in Rapid City that can't run for office because they live in Rapid City. Is that okay, or do you guys think they should be allowed? Or do we need to make some changes with our districts? I mean, do you guys have family members that live in Rapid City? And maybe not even Rapid City, maybe like in Eagle Butte, or even maybe you have them living somewhere off the reservation somewhere else. Do you think we need to be taking into consideration those tribal members that are off the reservation that maybe can't come home because of lack of housing or something like that? Or is this okay? That only people that live on the reservation should run for council? And that's fine. You guys could be okay with that too. I'm just trying to see what you guys feel like. Do you think we need to open it up to people off the reservation?
Well, I say it's all right because they would know what's going on in the communities of like the districts, and like people off the reservation that they don't aren't here very often to see what's going on or what's happening within the schools or communities or everywhere. Yeah. They only go by what they hear or what they want to see. So,
yeah. So you guys are okay with it being the way it is? All right. Anything else about that one? Do you guys like that it's only one sentence? In that one sentence, you either be 30 and you have to live on the reservation. Is that okay? Or do you think there should be more qualifications? You're okay with that? Okay with it? Okay. So the next article, oath of office. So basically when they're voted into office, they read this oath. And so the council reps have to read this when they're sworn in. And then they say their name, do solemnly swear that I will promote, preserve, and strengthen the general health and welfare of the Oglala Lakota Oyate. And I will support and defend this Constitution and the human rights of the Oglala Lakota Oyate and the human rights of other peoples as recognized in international laws, treaties, which include both the 1851 and 1868 Fort Laramie treaties and declarations. Does that sound good for an oath of office, or do you think it should have more? What? What'd you say?
That sounds okay.
That sounds good? You don't think it should include like our language or anything? Language, culture, something, anything? You're okay? Tradition, spirituality, you're okay with it? And that's what you can be. I'm just throwing things out there. You're good? All right. All right, so Article 16, meetings and procedures. So basically this just says that they'll conduct a mandatory regular meeting the last Tuesday of every month. And then if something happens like a holiday or something, they just move it to the next business day. 2/3 elected members must be present for it to be a quorum. Anything spark anything for you guys there? And then if they want a special meeting, a majority of the tribal council members must sign a written statement requesting a special meeting. And then the president shall call a special meeting no sooner than 2 days. The tribal council may adopt an ordinance establishing the process for the president to call emergency meetings. Anything else you think meetings and procedures should include, or is that good? So maybe just, or I guess they are public because they're on Keeley, and you're welcome to go. You're welcome to go. And have any of you guys ever heard a meeting on the air or seen and watched? You have? Okay. Yeah. And was that process okay and it worked and you're fine with it? Didn't spark anything? You didn't think they should add or change anything? Anything you feel that, anything in regards to anything there, or no? Or it's good? Good? You guys are looking tired. All right. So, if nothing there, Then Article 17, this one is the National Sioux Council. And this one is, and it's one sentence. The tribal council may appoint delegates to represent the Oglala Sioux tribe in the National Sioux Council. So all it is one sentence, like on that last page. So does that spark anything? Like, do you think anything else should go there? I know you guys made comment of like the importance of the youth voice.
What is that? The National Sioux Council.
So keep in mind, this Constitution was made in 1936. So I think, and there's been some, it's been either, they don't, how do you describe it? Tama, I need some help. The National Sioux Council. So this was just, it was something that's always just been in the Constitution, and it's never been changed or added to.
Do with like all the tribes?
Well, do you see too that it's not really clear? There's no definitions, there's no, like, it definitely needs to be clarified on what that is, or even if it still needs to be in the Constitution. The other meetings I've been to facilitating, that was always, that's one common one, like, why does it even need to be here? Some people even talked about an elderly council, like an elderly advisory council or a youth council, were two things that were brought up.
So in regards to this, it was, keep in mind, this was in 1934. So when the IRA came in and imposed, I shouldn't say imposed, but so in regards to the council, it was delegates from different communities, different IRA governments that would come together and then voice opinions and concerns with council, with Congress or Senate. So it was those delegates from communities, from different tribal communities, that would come together and voice any concerns, whether it be through land allotments or hunting rights or such, but going into the U.S. government and allowing the time for those concerns to be addressed. So not every tribal council rep could leave, but at the time they would send and delegate different authorities to people, and that's what that was in reference to. So.
It's still not, like, people use that as an example, or the treaty council. Yeah, yep. But people have said that and the treaty council. Like, it's not clarified on which group that really states what it is. So so with that, is there any, after going through that Constitution, was there anything that maybe you thought of, maybe that you want to bring up? Remember, this is like the Constitution, like how the tribal council governs, and maybe there's something not in that Constitution that sparks, maybe it sparks something in you that you think, and some of you said you watched how a tribal council meeting went. Anything else that you want to think that should be in this Constitution, that it's missing, that you didn't see? And I know you guys said the youth voice, that's something that's not in here. Anything else? Anything else that you want to add? Any input? You're okay? Okay. So keep in mind with this, you guys will have the Constitution in your packets. You guys got the survey that breaks it down by the article. I would highly recommend that you take the time and go through that Constitution, fill out the likes, dislikes, addition, changes, things like that. So one comment that I did get was, I think that we should have our land back and at least have a chance to get it back. So that's something that was shared, and I know land is a really big part of this Constitution, and figuring out a way to get that land back that we had. If we go back to that map where, geez, way back there. So there, before all those other things came into play, that land and the importance of our land. So I thank you for that. So if you guys got your surveys, you guys got the constitutions, If you guys got multiple people in your household, like grandmas, gakas, tuis, cousins, if you guys want to take those constitution, take some surveys back to your households, bring them back, turn them into, who should they turn them in here at the school? Huh? So your district service center, your CAP office, turn them in there and we'll collect them there. But definitely take this, share with your family, you know, what you were a part of today. If you think of something later, add it. If you can try and get them in by December 22nd. I know you guys are going to be out of school next week, right? So you guys have all kinds of times to look at that Constitution. Maybe when you sleep. Yeah. You know.
I just want to encourage the students, first of all, thank you for coming and having the interest to be a part of this. Your voice is important because you are going to be our future leaders. You are going to be our future government. And so it's important that you understand where tribal government is a living government. It changes all the time. And you guys are a part of that change. But also share this information not only with your families, but also with your peers, your friends. Say, this is what we covered, you know. You guys should have really been there to help be a part of giving your voice and sharing your voice. And you know, tomorrow we're going to be at Pine Ridge. You guys aren't limited to just here. You're more than welcome to come to Pine Ridge, and then after Pine Ridge is Kyle, Littlewood. So you'll be able to even go there and take part and also share your voice there too. And the district as well. Your district constitutional reform will be Saturday. Yep.
Yeah, so in that time frame, if something comes up, you go home and talk to your grandma or something, and yeah, come Saturday. All right, any questions or anything?
For those of you that are still with us, we have the youth portion of the meeting. Another youth portion, like Tina said, will be in Pine Ridge tomorrow evening. And then the following evening after that, it'll be out to Littlewood School. We also have a district meeting for your guys' district Saturday at Kennedy Hall from 9 to 2, and it'll go over a little more in depth of what Tama and Keita went through, and then you can give your concerns, your input, more or less, more generalization of more questions or in-depth questions during that time. Also, Tribal Ed Department will have a booth during LNI, so if you're going to LNI and you want to have more conversations about this, Dana and Michaela will be up at LNI at their booth, and you can share, go through and ask your questions to them. With that, we have T-shirts and gifts, I believe, for the students that attended. There's 8 gifts and there's 5 students. I think they're all going to get something tonight. And the T-shirts are for the youth, and those are from Tribal Ed Department, so I'd like to say thank you. With that, I want to say thank yous to all the council representatives for attending this evening. the handful of district representatives that were here but had left. And I mostly want to say thank you to you guys. You know, your input is very well taken. A lot of the questions, a lot of your answers, we sat there and we listened to them. We sat there and they were taking notes with your recommendations. Your notes are up here that Tama was writing down. You know, these are all your ideas that are going to go into hopefully one document. And that document will be what you guys will be following at your age. Your answers are going to be what shapes our government for the next, who knows, 90 years, because this is something that, you know, this has been 90 years that we've actually sat down and looked at this document. And like they were pointing out, there's a lot of Secretary of Interiors and Indian agent and all of that stuff in there that no longer exists. You know, so you know, these are good. You know, you guys get good ideas. I thank you for that. So with that, thank you for coming. Thank you for participating, and we look forward to hearing a lot more of your suggestions. So thank you.